Just like with page management, there are a few best practices to keep in mind for objects. Let's say we add a button to our page. The best next step would be to give that button a specific name so that you'll remember what it is when looking at it on a long list of other buttons and objects. Use whatever naming system works best for you. I typically name buttons based on the function that I plan to use it for. For example, if this button will go to my next page, I'll name it Next. If I wanted it to show a hidden clue, I'd name it Show Clue, and so on. P.S. I don't usually include spaces in my names, and that's fine. Note that the button's name is different from its title. An object's name is used by you as the developer, whereas a title is seen by the users. Also, a title can be left blank, but a name cannot. Okay, I've configured this button to look exactly the way that I want. I want another one just like it. I've got two options, copy or clone. Cloning is immediate, while copying gives you a chance to place the object when you're ready. Let's see this in action. If I open the button editor and tap Clone, you'll see a pop-up that the object was successfully cloned. It'll be exactly on top of the original button, so now if I tap out of this original editor and tap back on the same button spot, I'll see that I'm actually in a different buttons editor, which has been given the default name of button number 2. Perhaps I want this button to go back one page, so I'll name it Back, and I'm going to drag it to the other side of the page. If I instead tap Copy in the button editor, I'll see a pop-up that the object was successfully copied, and now I can paste that same button numerous times from the bottom of the list in the Object menu. This is especially useful if you're looking to paste something into another page, like this. A few things to note about the copy process. When you paste a copied object, the item will be pasted in the state that it currently exists. This means if you copy something and then make changes to it before pasting, that pasted version will have those changes as well. So for instance, if you're hoping to preserve the original with a copy, make sure you paste that copy before making changes to the original. Similarly, if you copy an object then delete the original, you won't be able to paste it because no current version exists anymore. We have a saying at WizCreate, which is to perfect and clone. If you get into the habit of configuring your object, page, script, etc. to be perfect, and then clone that as many times as you need, it should save you a lot of development time. This same copy and cloning process applies to pages and scripts and even apps to a point. Looking at the Pages tab in the App Editor, I can tap a page, tap its clone icon, and then immediately see it added when I swipe back to the Pages tab. If I were to instead copy a page, I could then tap the green plus sign on the Pages tab and I would see it listed there. This is especially useful if you want to paste a page into another app. After copying, just open another app, go to its app editor through the Settings button, and paste the page there. Just as with objects, make sure to paste before making additional changes to the original, or else your pasted page will include any changes made since copying. In the page management topic, we looked at rearranging the page's order in the page bar using the draggable hamburger icon. That same rearranging process is used for objects, but it serves an additional purpose. For objects, rearranging the order in which they appear in the page editor will change their layering on the page. For instance, if I had a story text object, and then I decided afterward that I wanted to layer a pretty piece of parchment behind it, I would add an image object for parchment, configure it, and then open the page editor, go to the Objects tab, tap the red minus button, and drag the hamburger of the parchment image object to fall below my story text object. See now, the parchment's hanging out behind the text. One more tip. Since I have both of these objects right where I'd like them to be, I'm going to open each of their editors and tap Drag On to change it to Drag Off. This is a great practice to make sure you don't accidentally move or resize an object after placing it exactly where you want it to be. One last thing, that's deleting objects. This is the same process that we use in the page management topic, meaning just as before, there's no undo. Make sure you're deleting what you mean to delete. You can delete an object within its own editor by tapping the trash can, or you can select objects within a page editor's object list by tapping the red minus button and the delete icon on the left-hand side. Let's look briefly at the different objects available in the Object menu next.